Dome, 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 dome. Let's see. Can everybody hear me? Boom, 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 boom. Do I sound like I'm echoey, or does it finally sound like it's supposed to for once? I don't know. You're going to have to tell me. Did you guys notice how we did that? We started the garage show, and then we took X away, and we just kind of moved the Facebook logo over like, I hope nobody's watching this. They don't pay attention. I was sitting here watching the intro, and I went, God, that's not right. I knew somebody was going to say something. Probably Shiloh. She's going to be like, hey, man, don't you respect the Facebook Blue page? Yes, I do. In fact, I'm even in here with Shiloh right now. Inside of Facebook Blue, we're broadcasting on Rumble. We're broadcasting on YouTube. But I am sitting inside Facebook Blue. If you want me to read your stuff here live, Aaron, he says 5x5, which is a good thing. That means he can hear me just right. Matt Thompson, Dale Wine, I see Johnny O checking in. I could probably scroll back and see a few more names if I really tried. Scott Red Kevin. Scott Red Kevin. Scott. I'm not even sure what that is. That's two first names and a crayon color. Now, Shiloh Ferguson is your moderator over on Facebook Blue. So if you see Shiloh, you want to say something to me, it goes through her. Now you guys are all saying hello to each other, and Diane's checking in. Thank you guys for joining the Garage Show. Looks like it's Friday, August 15th. That means every Friday at 6 o'clock we do a Garage Show. Now, the problem with doing that is Gen X Talks, Generation X, applying common sense, a garage show. You get the experts. Now, this might have flown 15 years ago, but now experts hover in. They comment, they watch, and they're like, well, that isn't the way you install a hot water heater. I'm a hot water guy. That's all I do. And then you got a guy who's like, well, I'm a transmission guy. All I do is transmissions. And you didn't get that right. Look. I'm not here to fucking fight with you guys over shit, okay? There's some stuff I know how to do. There's some stuff I don't know how to do. I can cover a lot of the basics. We talk about a lot of the home tools that you'd use around the house. We talk about jobs you might do there. They're simple and they're easy. And I'm not taking the camera and walking around going, this is how you take apart plumbing. Here's a pipe. I'm not doing that. There's so many videos out there on YouTube, some right, some wrong. I'm just talking about the stuff I know how to do, answering basic questions for you folks for the things you don't know, because my expertise was cars. I'm not so sure if it is anymore. I probably forgot more than I ever knew. But yeah, car stuff, it just sticks in your head. Whatever profession you're in, if you're a plumber, you're never going to let go of that stuff. Electrician, same thing. But there are things that we do understand, we do know. And then we bring up some tools. Sometimes they're old tools from the 40s and 50s that they don't use anymore. And we try to just make fun of them and talk about this is what they did back in the day. And it goes, we go all the way back to, turn of the century and beyond. You go all the way back to when my brother-in-law, the Sun Valley Fox, was caravanning in Conestoga wagons over here. And the tools that he had with him are just, you can't even describe them. And the problem with tools back then is everything was heavy. It was made of iron, and it was for smacking. There was just, you look at the Sun Valley Fox's tools from back in the day, 1867 of them, and his tools were, this is for pounding fence posts in. This is for pounding shoes on horses. This is for pounding pound cake. It's always heavy and hitting is what it seemed like. There was no finesse back in that day, if you will. So anyway, we got some stuff we want to talk about. I do have the sheets open. That means, what does that mean to you guys? That means if you guys have any questions, if you're on Rumble, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook Blue, if I'm talking here, I can't see what you're writing there. You follow me? But the moderators, we have moderators in all the places. Moderators will copy and paste things, put them up there for you so we can begin with some things. Let me read in the sheets. Let me see if I got something going on right now here. Over on Rumble, Dragon Slayer Jade is your moderator. I don't know if Josh Maddox is in there, and I have a Dragon Slayer Jade on Rumble. She says, Dr. Shadowlight, I have a question. I have a 2012 F-150 EcoBoost, got some cam phasers that rattle. Okay, Jade, I'm trying to read this fucking thing, and you're changing the font size on me. Hold the fuck still, girl. I'm trying to read the... Of course, when she's highlighting, then all the fucking colors, I'm like, yeah! All right. Let's start again, shall we? Over on Rumble, Dragon Slayer Jade copied and pasted something from Dr. Shadowlight. I got a question. I have a 2012 F-150 EcoBoost. Got some cam phasers that rattle. I do not use it every 5 days. Some days I should jump on it immediately. Others say let it go as long as possible. It doesn't do it while running. Dr. Shadowlight says it doesn't do it while running. What do you think, General? Well, if you have cam phasers on your engine of your Ford that rattle, and then you wrote it doesn't do it when it's running, you had this line of questioning should be on our Off the Record show, where you call in about the paranormal. You call in about ghosts and demons. You should call in and go, man, I've got an F-150 out in my barn. It's not even on. The engine is not running, and the cam phasers are rattling. Whoa. I got to tell you, I don't know that I have advice on that. Get a Catholic priest, perform an exorcism, perhaps. I'm just saying it's kind of fucking weird. But cam phasers, yeah. Cam phasers, there you can do those on Fords. When you get that rattle, change your oil often with good oil. Please, 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 please do not use cut rate shitty oil. I will tell you right now, that used to be a critical thing back in the day. Was good oil, good oil, good oil. I tore apart motors in the 80s that old timers like the Sun Valley Fox. I only use Pennzoil. I only use Champion spark plugs. Back in the day, I wouldn't put fucking Champion spark plugs and Pennzoil in my lawnmower. That's how bad they got. They had a really bad reputation for a long time. And Pennzoil would come out trying to sue everybody. We are not a waxed-based oil. We are not a paraffin-based oil. And here I am pulling apart engines, and I'm scooping out sludge that is the grimiest, waxiest stuff, and the guy swears all he uses is Pennzoil. I'm telling you, now they're probably much better by now, but I'm telling you that in today's engines with variable cam timing, with how the tight tolerances are on things, metal-to-metal surfaces that just give you very little room but need tons of lubricant, you better use the best oil you can find and a great filter. You guys go, I'm telling you right now, you go to these cut rate, Jiffy Lubes and stuff, and now Jiffy Lube's probably going to sue me. I don't give a shit. I don't care for Jiffy Lubes. I don't care for cut rate oil. Ray Lube oil that you buy at a 7-Eleven gas station right behind the hot dogs is bullshit. You can never use recycled oil. You have to use name brand stuff. It's got to be top shelf. If it's not, you're going to cause thousands and thousands of dollars worth of damage. It doesn't matter what vehicle you're on, but especially Fords with cam phasers. And cam phasers are just without how would I explain? I don't have my whiteboard today. The best way to explain a cam and crank sit at 0 points to each other, perfectly up and down. They match. When you assemble them with a timing chain or a timing belt, they are assembled perfectly. For optimal running, cam spins around, crank spins around. Cam spins around, crank spins around. Okay, everything stays lined up. But on performance, you'd be like, man, if I could, when I get up to higher RPMs, when I'm pulling a load, when I really trump on the gas, I wish I could tweak my cam a little bit ahead. Boy, I know they're in perfect sync, but boy, and they're right. If you're a hot rod guy, you're not wrong on that. You're absolutely right. You would love to be able to adjust that cam just a little bit, but the problem is they're in sync with a timing chain or a timing belt. You can't. And if you say, well, no, I'll take it all apart. I'll set it a little bit ahead. I'll put my timing chain back on. Now they're not perfect. They're a little bit off. But boy, when I get under that load, I'm going to have that extra cam. I'm going to have that extra oomph. Yeah, you will. But you're sure going to run like shit driving around town. You're going to run like shit idling around town. Your check engine light, everything's going to be fucked up. You can't do that. So that was where everyone was stuck for a long time. You had to sacrifice one or the other because you can't move your cam. Technically, you still can't move the base timing on it. However, now we have ways to cam phasers. Honda has variable timing controls on theirs. They have since the late 80s, early 90s. And it is a way that while you're driving, the computer can just move that cam a little bit. Oh, what a difference that makes. But again, runs on oil pressure. BMW actually has a motor. They have a big motor on the side of each cam. They drive that cam lever back. It's a big fucking motor that, like a screw gun, and it moves the rotation of that cam a little bit, and it works. It's not a bad design. It does work. They're just not super reliable. And when your cam phasers go bad, the first customers that come into my shop back in the day and they had that rattle, I'd say, let's change the oil, let's flush it out, let's try to save this thing, let's get the gunk out of it, let's try to unblock the passageways, let's throw an oil change at it first, let's flush it out and try to, and a lot of times if you caught them in time, they'd come back to life. But a lot of times they were too far gone. And you just got to pull, and then your timing chains and guides and gears and cam phasers, depending on the mileage, but it just ends up being $2,000 or $3,000. Now it's even more. So I'm telling you, I'm messing with Dr. Shadowlight, of course, but if they're rattling, and one of the things is that some people say just let them rattle forever. Well, if you don't use it very often, you can go thousands and thousands of miles and not going to do anything. Eventually, though, they're going to get stuck. Your cams are going to get stuck in a certain position. It's not going to run right, and it's going to be a problem. I haven't heard of any, really, that break in a way that causes more damage. You're already kind of fucked, so you leave it like it is. But did you hear me? Change your oil earlier than your manufacturer said. Change it sooner. I don't even want to get into. All right, I'll do it really quick. People come to me and say, well, I bought a Chevy, and the Chevy right here in the manual, it says I only have to change my oil every 7,500 miles. And I'm using synthetic, so that's probably right. Oh, I'm going to need a drink to even go through this. I don't know if you guys understand this or not. If you don't, let me explain it, because and you guys rely on the manufacturer. You guys rely on the warranty program. You guys rely on the book, man. The book goes in the glove box. Got to get to the book. If we don't got a question on go to the book. Hang on. Let me tell you something wrong about the book. All of them. All right? I want to say this changed in the mid 90s is when the big shift came on. And why? How come you're I don't agree all the time, I don't really pretty much ever, with your owner's manual when it says they want you to change your oil at 7,500 miles, your transmission should be serviced at 50,000 miles or 40,000 miles. And you guys you guys ever heard of J.D. Power? J.D. Power and Associates. They go through all these things and they rank stuff, and they can be washers and dryers, and it can be cars and trucks, all sorts of things. And they're usually pretty accurate about things. In the automotive industry, that's where I had to base it from. I would read what they said. My wife would bring and say, hey, J.D. Power says this car is shitty and this car is good. Well, I was in the industry. I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. So I would assume they were doing the same thing with toasters. I don't know. I'm not a toaster guy. So all of a sudden, people become very conscious of J.D. Power's recommendations. And J.D. Power says, boy, if you buy a Ford truck, you're going to have to do oil changes 3 times a year, and a tune-up once a year, and transmission service every 2 years. Boy, when you own this, or you buy this, you're going to, boy, I'm telling you, you're going to be putting out $3,000 in services. People paid attention to that. There was a lot of people that bought things heavily based on, well, how much am I going to have to spend on this once I own it? Toyota was the same way, and Honda. So manufacturers, the factories caught on to this. Now, you can't just go to J.D. Power and say, hey, don't tell people that it costs so much to service our vehicles, man. Ford was one of the first ones. They went in there and said, well, if you use really good oil and you drive it normally, you don't have to change your oil for 7,000 miles. You don't have to do a tune-up for the first 5 years. What they were doing was when that's their recommendation. So J.D. Power comes in and goes, wow, boy, not many oil changes needed here. Not many You know what? It's only going to cost you $200 a year to service his vehicle. Are you following me? The factories just extended the mileages out on things as far as they possibly could so that when you looked at how much it was going to cost to maintain that vehicle, the numbers looked great. I didn't know one mechanic that went along with any of those. Not one. I don't care how good of oil you're using, dirt's still going to get in there. That's like saying you left your vehicle in a barn for 6 years. Never ran it. Never moved it. Is the oil still good? Didn't do anything. It's been sealed up. Should be fine, right? Should go 7,000 miles. Name one person who wouldn't change the oil after pulling a car or truck out of a barn that had been sitting there for 6 years. Because you know better. I'm telling you right now, there's like, they told me on my Chevy truck, I don't have to change the transmission fluid for 50,000 miles. Guess who was in there at 22,000 miles getting the transmission service? I know better. I'm not gonna ever fight with warranty over, well, did you no. I'm way ahead. My oil changes are ahead. I don't go at 7,500 miles. I do it about 4,000 with synthetic, maybe 5,000 with synthetic. Well, that's ridiculous. I've heard that some synthetic oils go 10,000 miles. Yeah, they still get fucking dirt in them. They do. It doesn't matter that the oil won't break down till about 7,000, doesn't deteriorate till 8,000. You can actually go till 10,000. I'm not talking about that. I'm telling you, shit gets in the motor. Fuel goes by the rings, gets in the motor. You get fuel in your oil a little bit too. There's carbon in there. There's dirt in there. Who fucking cares how long it goes? If it's all fucked up, what's the difference? I'm just saying that it's not all what you think. Just ask the right questions and do it on your own schedule. Be a little bit early, never be late, because late is just for the people who write the articles and how little you're going to have to spend. This goes back to the cam phasers. Ford ought to be telling everybody this is the exact brand and weight oil. You can't deviate, and you're going to be in here every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. You're going to get your oil changed. These cam phasers are going to get clogged up and stuck. Who cares if it costs a little bit more? You're spending $80,000 on a vehicle anymore for these trucks just to drive a Chevy pickup. Who cares if your oil change is, $70 or $130? I mean, you're spending that much money. Does that really, who cares? Spend the fucking extra 60 or 70 bucks and get the shit done right. But all right, so I'm sorry. Wasn't planning on doing this. Oh, okay. So I don't know if I got Shadowlight. Boy, Shadowlight run a bunch of stuff in there. Okay. I'm not going to read all of Shadowlight. You copied and pasted everything he said. We'd be down here. You can leave his second question, Jade. I'll get down to that one. But his whole conversation, this is not the Dr. Shadowlight show. Although if he sponsored the program, I think we could work something out. Dr. Shadowlight's got deep pockets and a love for Gen X talks. He absolutely admires a handsome, trained broadcast professional. Thankfully, on this program, we have both. You're welcome, America and Denmark. All right. Shut up. I said it with a straight face. I'm allowed to lie. Marie Rose on Facebook Blue. Gen X are badass. Hello from Jacksonville, Florida. I learned a lot about cars, and I'm the only girl in the family. I had 5 brothers. Good for you. I will tell you this, Marie Rose from Jacksonville, Florida. I can't tell you how many times I brought women out into my shop, their cars raised in the air, and I said, I'd like to show you what's going on. And she said, well, I don't know anything about cars. I said, okay, but you can see this oil pan right here. This is called the oil pan. Yeah. You can see all the bolts around here. It bolts to the, yeah. And you see where it's leaking right here. Oh, yeah. That's the gasket's gone. You need one of those. I can't tell you over all the years I worked on cars how many times, and it was men also, but mainly women that were so appreciative that I didn't talk down to them. I said, would you like to come out and see what I'm talking about? Or I can have an engine running, the belt squealing, and I pour a little water on it, noise goes away, and like, oh my God, what because, and I explained to them, they shut off the engine, say, I'm putting water here, and it coats this surface, you need a new belt, we're okay. Or I can take a flashlight and say, look right here, your belt is cracked. So many things. Marie Rose, you learned so much stuff, and I bet a lot of it was hands-on visually. You're not stupid. You get it. You just need someone to explain it to you. Now, there's a lot of people that don't want to know. I got that. But there's more people that do want to know. And if you can take a time to show them, They can figure it out too. It's not rocket science, man. Some of the things, electrical, computer related, trying to explain maybe how the computer's trying to achieve stoichiometric measurements of 14.7 to 1. That might get a little over people's head. Or, you talk about a feedback system with a basic O2 sensor and how O2 sensors work. That might be a little bit, even some of those things, you can draw it out and they're like, oh, that's it? Yeah, that's it. I spent a lot of time doing that, and I'm not ashamed of it. It was a good thing. All right. So that was done. Shiloh Facebook Blue. I have a 2015 Honda Cross Tour. Occasionally, it doesn't want to start when I push the button. But if I push the button the second time to start the process over, it starts. It happens like 5 times, and it's keyless. Is my starter quitting? Most handsome of handsome generals? Well, no. And that's the problem. Back in the day, you guys remember when you turned a key, when you physically turned a key, you were turning tumblers just like a lock in your front door, physically turning mechanical parts, connecting connectors, power to power, making things go, completing circuits. That's physically what keys did back then. When you push that button to start your vehicle, that's a request. That's all it is. It's a request. You're not moving anything other than that plastic button in and out, 2 millimeters. It's a request. It sends a signal, either a power or a ground or a continuity, to the computer, and the computer says, what's this signal? Oh, someone would like to start the car? Well, let me see. Are they stepping on the brake? Hang on. Did we get a brake signal? We did. Okay, brake is good. Is the key in the vicinity of the button? Hang on a second. Let me go check. Transmitter, receiver, did you get a transmit? Oh, the key's nearby. Oh, it's in the cup holder? All right, that's 2. Hang on. All it is your computer going down a checklist of things it needs to see after you press the button and request it. Please start my car. So back in the day, if you told me you turned a key and it didn't start, but you turned it again and it did start, 9 times out of 10, it was the key assembly. That lock assembly was worn out or not making a contact because you just turn and wiggle it around and the contacts finally touch and away the thing goes. Off it starts running. Fords were notorious in the 70s. And I remember as a kid, people couldn't start their Ford. The car, mainly the trucks, but cars too, just sit there and it's turning and turning, and my key turns all the way, but nothing happens. And while you're turning your car, some of you are already doing it. Some of you already know what I'm going to say. And your Ford, and you're turning like this, and you'd reach over behind the steering wheel, and remember the shifters were up here, but you grab the shifter from the other side and pull it into park just a little bit more. And then you turn that key again and fire right up. There was mechanical things moving back then. Now it's a request. All you're doing is requesting, please start. And you're asking me, well, what's wrong with it? Probably not the starter. No, I would not say the starter is the issue. You have to get, and a guy with a computer has to get those things squared away. And he has to look, hang on a second. Sorry, yell at the dog. I have to keep the doors open because GX mom is sick. Gen X mom's not doing well. I got to make sure I can hear her. Anyway, so imagine if you're looking at all the data on a computer. All those things I was kind of teasing you about. Well, is the key nearby? Is the brake pedal depressed? Is it a request from there? Do we have the doors all shut? Whatever the things have to be for that to go. If a mechanic can read all that data, we can say, yep, this is there, got that, doors shut, brake pedals depressed. You can see all those things. You can see what's missing. Or you start pressing the button. You're pressing the button while you're reading it, going, oh, I'm not always getting the signal from the switch. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Now you know it's this switch that's gone bad. What if that switch signal every time and all the list is good? Everything is supposed to be there is there on your request. I'm just asking, can I start my vehicle? Buttons pressed, lights up. Brakes depressed, lights, everything you're supposed to do. It's in park, everything's there. And it still doesn't. Well, now, did it send the signal to the starter? Or did it not? You see where this is a whole nother ball game now when you're dealing with computers. And this is what leaves you stranded on the side of the road. Used to be you're standing on the side of the road, put your hood up, 5 people can come and help you get back on the road and get going. Not anymore. Very little you can do. Almost nothing. Can't repair a fuel line on the side of the road. Guess you could duct tape a radiator hose maybe, if you can get to it. Just saying, that's something that you got to go in and get a diagnosis on, and you got to take it to a guy who can look up all the data all at once. Only some computers can. You're not going to get one at AutoZone or O'Reilly's for $60 and have it give you all that information. They're coming a long way, but they're not going to do that. All right, where was I? Dooms. Insurmountable Kelly Cat, YouTube evening, you grease monkeys. On YouTube, I can't read that name. Justin Seifer, I think, sent 5 memberships. That means you guys get to peek behind the curtain after the show's over. Thank you, Justin. Who else? Star Roberts, 10 memberships. Star Roberts hits home runs. Every now and then it's a grand slam. 10 memberships cost him a bunch of money, but that means you guys can now on YouTube scroll back 4.5 years and see behind the scenes stuff. Well done, Star Roberts. Thank you. Star Roberts also says, anyone know what the firing order of a V12 Rolls-Royce Merlin engine is? I'm looking to put it into my O2 Silverado. You taking that out of one of the old Royal Air Force World War II? Those Spitfires they had or something? No, I do not know that firing order. I know Chevys and Fords, and that's about it. I can take me back that far. All right, YouTube. I was told just today that I had to use $30 NGK plugs for my Honda. Is the mechanic just trying to upsell me? What you didn't say what year your Honda is, and God, I hate telling these stories, but spark plugs are important. You don't use cheap ones, but if you get the right fit, the brand, and there's books. You're going to go to a parts house and say, hey, this NGK plug for my Honda, what else? And the parts guy goes, well, these 6 different plugs, they're all pretty close. I will tell you, auto lights work real well as a replacement in Fords and Chevys and Dodges. They used to. They had good plugs. They were good solid substitute. Auto lights didn't seem to last as long in imports. NGKs, which is an import plug, didn't work as well in domestic. So the reason he'd recommend NGK is not a bad choice. Does it have to be $30 per plug or $30 plug? No, you could do some homework real quick and find out. Nip and Denso is a good option for those too. Maybe not as much money. NGK is a good generic one. Autolite's a good one for domestic. NGK is a good one for there. But when they do tell you, and I'll tell you this, there's platinum tips, there's all sorts of double platinums, there's all sorts of things they recommend. A lot of it's for longevity, not as much when you put them in. You can put all these plugs in the first day, the first week, they all kind of run the same. But it's longevity. It's how long they last, how dirty they get, how clean they burn. There's a lot to do with that. So, if he's giving you a difference between a $5 plug and a $30 plug, you might want to look into it. If the plug differences are like $3, man, do what he says. He'll warranty it. Just saying, or ask some questions. Have him explain it to you. Have him pull out some spark plugs and have him put them in his hand and go, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. If they can't even try to explain it, then I don't know that they know what they're doing, because every good mechanic, especially mechanics better than I ever was, they had enough working knowledge of anything to explain how it works. You can dumb it down and explain it. Why not? You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to things on that. All right. Going through to Dome. General, can you turn up your mic volume? Danny H, notice some volume low. Okay, there it is, all the way up. I don't know. If you guys, moderators, if you guys want to say something to me directly, put it at the top of the sheets, not the bottom. I'm not going to, when am I going to get it? What if I never get to the bottom of the sheets? Put them at the top. God damn, I swear to Christ almighty. It's like playing cards with my brother's kids or something. All right. I got something for you. I want to get off the sheets for a minute. I want to go back over here to Facebook Blue, and of course you guys can do that. I didn't give staff any heads up on this, so they don't have an answer. We'll have to just play it by ear on that. But in Facebook Blue, does anybody know what this tool is? I would be impressed if anybody knew what this was. Sun Valley Fox won't know what this is because the parts that this goes to, he didn't have one on his cars. Horse-drawn carriages didn't use these. This is a tool. It's really one for each side. You don't use it at the both the same size. I showed this to Danny H, and he said this is for breast augmentation. This is how you begin the woman's breast, and then you kind of feel for it. He's not wrong. Well, okay, he's wrong. It's not what it's for. But there's now so many different sizes of these. Back when I worked on cars, there's like 4 or 5 sizes. Now there's 30 or 40. I'm going to look in here in Facebook Blue and see if anybody knows what this is. They may or they may not. Looking. No, don't see anything in there. James K. Morgan, got to change the air from summer air to winter air pretty soon. Yeah, you need to. And James K. Morgan in Facebook Blue, go one step further. Make sure it's factory air you put in your tires. Okay, if you got a Ford, buy that Detroit air. If you got something for a Honda, you got to go to Japan and get that Japan air. You got to get Japanese air. Johnny O says oil filter remover. No. John Noon's oil filter wrench. No. Aaron Heath, is that for timing? No. Irrigation filter remover. Shiloh, we're talking about cars, not irrigation. I don't know if there's any guesses over on YouTube. You guys can let me know if there was. But I'll tell you what this is for. It's for a fuel pump. When you drop the fuel tank, and they used to have just screws, and you pop the fuel pump out, and then they changed it and said now you have to put this on there, and you have to turn it like this. And if you turn it far enough, the ring will come off. But yeah, you had to have all the exact sizes. And believe me, I know a bunch of mechanics who just got out a big old set of channel locks, and they reefed, but then you break shit because it's all plastic. Yeah, back in the day, fuel pump. In fact, they might even say it on it. Yeah, fuel tank wrench it's called, but it's for fuel pumps. Not many people know that, but that's how big those things are. And if you don't, this is 2 sizes. Like I said, I think I had 4 or 5 different sizes, but now I can't even count. I talked to buddies of mine that are still in the industry. I can't even count how many tools they have like that just for doing that one job. That was one. Should have given away a prize for that one, but I will talk, because you guys asked me. We did this in one of the shows over a year ago, and I should have brought in both models. But I will tell you, it's mainly a lot of girls, a lot of women asking if they're going to buy something for their boyfriend or their husband. They'd like to surprise them, but they don't want to surprise them with something shitty. I'm like, I got you on that. So there's a ton of stuff you can buy for your guy that he won't laugh at you and go get your money back. I don't use that shit. I would never steer you wrong on that. If I wasn't confident about something, I wouldn't even tell you. One of the things to remember on ratchets, this is a very small ratchet. It's a quarter drive ratchet. They call it a quarter drive because the size socket you use, there's basically 3 or 4 sizes. This is a quarter, and then the next size up is 3/8. It's just how big that square is. And that's because the socket on the bottom of the socket, like here, this is a 1/2 inch drive socket. This is a quarter drive ratchet. Not going to fit. They have to be the same. Your 1/2 inch socket needs a 1/2 inch driver. This right here, with such a small shaft trying to fill a 1/2 inch socket hole there, this would be a lot like Disney Kid having sex with his wife. It's not as effective as you'd think. So you got to make sure you got the right size. Now with ratchets, I want to just give you a quick lesson. You hear this? Hear that fine clicking? Hear that? Cheap, shitty ratchets that'll bust your knuckles don't have a fine tooth in there. They don't have a fine tooth gear. They click, 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 and it's all the way around, 6 or 7. I mean, it's horrible. And you can go to Harbor Freight and some of their shitty tools, click, 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 and it's not good. It's not how loud it is. You got to hear. You can feel it, and the fine tooth one is way better. This is a tool. I think I paid $90 for this 20 years ago off a Snap-on truck. They're probably $160 now. But this swivel head ratchet is one of the best tools. One of my favorite tools of all time. Use it at home, use it at the shop, use it at work. Save my ass more than once, because when a regular ratchet won't get in there, the head flex is just enough to get around those corners. They do make these not Snap-on that have real fine ratcheting heads. In fact, the moderators have a link for you. They put up an affiliate link. If you guys wanted to get one, and you want to let us get a couple bucks when you buy one, they'll put up a link for you. The moderators can put up a link to this tool. I'll do this once a show. I'll show you one of my favorite tools. I will always own one of these. In fact, I own 2 in case one breaks. I got another backup. That's how good the tool is. And it's not just for automotive, although huge in automotive, and every automotive guy probably already has one. If you got a husband or a boyfriend doing, he's probably like, already got one, and I've got one off the tool truck. I don't, but if they didn't, not a bad way to go. Just letting you guys know. That's one of the. Now you go into the Sun Valley Fox. I don't even know if he has ratchets. His hands are so strong. Sun Valley Fox just has all the sockets, and I just see him walking up to shit, turning it. He's going, what? I mean, I've seen Sun Valley Fox, my brother-in-law, I've seen him change a tire on the side of the freeway on a 1-ton pickup where he just spun the lugs off by hand. It's really something to aspire to, if you must know. All right. So if you guys are just interested in that, then that's the link for that stuff. But it's one of the go-to cool. If you buy that, your guy's not going to go, what'd you get? They'd be like, holy shit, thank you. That's a go-to gift. Why? Because it's Friday. That's why you buy presents. Women should get flowers and candy on Friday just because, and men should get tools or boob pictures. One of the two. I don't care which one. All right. Facebook says, Gen X Talks, I have a Honda. Hang on one second. Fucking dog. Gen X Talks, I have a Honda 2017 Odyssey I use for work. Do spark plugs, coil packs need change as frequently as traditional plug wires? No. No, traditional plug wires. The plugs are about the same. Spark plugs, whether you have the old style distributor with wires going everywhere, you have coilovers. Plugs run about the same time. Same mileage, same wear, same tear. However, coil packs, the boot, which is now the spark plug wire, which used to be yay long and travel all over. Now it's just a boot and it's right on it. The boots don't go bad nearly as often as wires did. Wires were exposed to the elements. Wires were out in the cold. Wires get dirt on them. Wires get water on them. The times that those boots fail is when they have a problem with the coil. Mechanic takes them out, breaks the boot when he takes it out, cracks the boot when he takes it out. A lot of times I noticed that people say my car was running fine, and then about a month after I got a tune-up, it started running bad, and you could tell when I pulled it apart, the boot, when the guy took it apart to replace the spark plugs, he cracked the boot, didn't tell anybody. I've even seen him with electrical tape around him, holding them together, because it'll last a while. Anyway, the boots are way different than that. They fail. They don't fail. The coil packs fail. The coilover plugs fail, and the coils that sit on top of them fail. When you take them out, you put a new boot on it anyway. But typically, if you're asking for someone says, "Well, I'm going to do all the boots and all the plugs," no, you can. They're not super expensive, but not nearly as often. That was your basic question, yeah. Not nearly as often as it used to be. Not even close. What else? Did I miss some stuff in here? Johnny Over on Facebook Blue General, if you could, who fucking writes this stuff so small that I can't goddamn read it at all? Hang on. Let me do the job of whatever moderators over on Facebook Blue. Shiloh, Johnny O, Facebook Blue General, if you could, would you go back to when cars didn't have all these computers and electrical stuff? Yeah. There's an era, probably in the late 70s and early 80s. I do like electric windows. I would like an electric window. I don't mind that. I do like electric seats. Probably wouldn't change that. I wouldn't go all the way back to before they had those features. I wouldn't go all the way back to when Cadillac was the only one who had those. But I will tell you, it's a general rule in automotive, and I think every mechanic would tell you this. The more bells and whistles, the more stuff they put on cars, the more stuff breaks. You guys remember those Pontiac vans, the transports that had the button and the door would automatically slide open and close and then fail all the time? Yeah, and just the more they look at my door, opens automatically. Oh, how do you like it? Oh, it's for shit. I've had it in the shop 42 times since I've owned it for that very problem. The more stuff you put on the car, the more apt it is to break and fall apart. Just like when I said I like electric windows going up and down, and we were talking before about your key requesting to start the car. It's what you do with the window. It used to be when you pressed a window switch, you were switching. You physically were switching positive and negative, so the motor would go one way. Flip the switch the other way, positive and negative, so the DC motor, and the window would go the other way. You were physically making it. You could rip the switch out of your door, and you could touch wires and make your windows go up and down. Now, You're requesting. You push for your driver's window to go down. That is just a signal to a body control module. And it says, oh, you'd like to roll your window down. Well, let's see if I feel like letting you do that today. It's a request. That's all it is. Now, I think seats are still hardwired. It seems like they are. They're still, you're moving a switch to the motor. It's mechanical right there. It feels like a much heavier switch. I haven't seen the new ones. I haven't torn them apart. They're real new ones. But everything's a request. You're just asking, can I start my car? Not like the old days when you turned a key or you pushed a button or you pushed a switch and things physically connected and moved. It's not like that anymore. You're just requesting. Remember the days when you could push, and on a radio you could push to set a preset? You can turn a knob, and as you're turning the knob, the dial went across the screen. You're physically moving it. Now you're requesting. Please, can I change the station? I'm sick of listening to this shit. You're requesting. That's the easiest way to put what all of this is you're asking it, can you please do something? Now, I think like your visor, your sun visor has a light in there. I believe that's still click on, click off. It works, but not very much anymore, just so you guys know. Facebook Blue is sporadically freezing once in a while. If we're not having that trouble on YouTube, then I'm going to say it's a Facebook problem. You can ask the moderators on Rumble and YouTube to see if they concur or if they don't. All right, so before we go anywhere else in the sheets, let me see what else is going on. It's not freezing on my end because I'm looking at it right now. Jennifer Hallowell says, I've got a bad coil on my 2000 Trans Am. Got to change that tomorrow and change all the plugs while I'm at it. Original coil finally failing at 186,025 years. That's great. Jennifer, those coil packs and those plugs don't owe you anything. Just remember, Jennifer, as you're replacing the one coil pack that went bad and all 8 spark plugs, all of the coil packs can be ready to fail. This is one thing I always used to try to talk to my customers. I said, do you want me to put all the coil packs on? You got 8, one's dead at 186,000 miles. That's 25 years of summers, 25 years of winters. It finally wore out. Guess what? The other 7 have the same amount of winters, the same amount of summers, the same amount of miles. They're going to go too. You want to come back to the shop and do them one at a time? We'll do them one at a time. But you know they're going to go. This one just went. You know they're original. But see, that was the problem too. Imagine, now try to explain this to a customer. Customer comes in for an oil leak. The one I'm thinking of was a Subaru. Customer comes in and has a Subaru, and he has 160,000 miles on it. Never had any problems with the engine, but he's got an oil leak, and I find a seal that is finally just worn out. Seals do. They're a wearable item. They finally get hard. A lot of summers, a lot of winters, a lot of out in the elements. They get hard. They crack. 186,000 miles, 15, 18 years in there, and it finally quits. Now they just want that seal fixed. Follow me on this. This is important because you need to understand something. This is partially what makes you think mechanics are liars, thieves, and assholes. Listen to me. So I tell the customer, listen, I can change this out. It'll be like $250, $300. I'll fix this seal. However, sir or ma'am, you have many other seals on this engine. They all have 160,000 miles on them. They all have 18 summers, 18 winters on them. They're all probably ready to go, but this was the one that went first. And why am I telling them that? Because I don't want them to come back in a month and go, you didn't fix my oil leak. Yes, I did. This one's still working. Now that one's leaking over here. I have those conversations up front. I write it down in the work order. Customer advised. All other gasket and seals have the same mileage, the same year, distance on them. It could be customers denies any further repairs at this time. I also added one more thing, something I came up with that I didn't hear from anybody else, actually invented something on my own, part of a conversation. I said, imagine that the oil pressure in your engine springs a leak out of that seal. We both know it's leaking. I walked the customer out there. I pointed to it. Engine's running. We can see the seal dripping. Customer gets it. Customer can see some of the other seals not currently dripping, but they know what the score is. I said, chances are it's going to leak because we're replacing this seal. Can you think why? Why would fixing this leak probably make another seal leak even sooner? They're all old. And this is the way I used to explain it to customers. I said, you kind of got to think of it as a dam with many cracks in it. And the cracks aren't leaking, but they're old. They got cracks. Your seals, your gaskets, they have cracks. They may not be leaking, but they're old. And when the dam finally leaks, you walk up there and you put your finger in it. You stop the leak. But then a leak comes out over here, so you put your finger in that one. Then another one. Well, that's very similar to how oil leaks can show themselves on cars. If the gaskets are all 18 years old, the seals are all 18 years old, they all have 160-some thousand miles on them, one finally gives way, and you've tightened up, you fix it, you seal that system, it puts pressure on the rest of the system. A little bit. It's going to go to the next weakest seal, and I don't mind doing these one at a time. I just don't want you to be mad if you're back here every month, or we can spend, $2,000 and pull the engine and do them all now and put it back together. Most people know I don't want to do that. Okay, I don't mind. Just don't be mad when you say, I've taken this is what happens. You guys turn us in. You guys make us look. I went back to my mechanic for an oil leak 5 times, and he still couldn't stop that oil leak. Yes, we did. It's a different seal or gasket each time. Yeah, we did. Not saying there's not I'm not saying there's not thieves out there in the mechanics fields. I'm just saying you have to be able to talk and communicate and trust each other, and then you can go down that road. It's not easy to do. It's really not easy to do. But that's why people say when you find a mechanic you can trust, stick with them, because they're going to give you their best effort, going to give you something. I mean, I found it, the biggest compliment I think I ever got was after we closed up the shop and we decided we weren't going to do that anymore, and my wife and I went on to do other stuff. And people found us, customers found us on social media. And they're like, "Oh my God, I just bumped I found you on social media. Your shop was closed." And, because some people, you wouldn't see them for a year or so unless they had a problem. You wouldn't see your same customers every week. So there was many, 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 many customers that thought I was still there and I wasn't still there. And they were trying to get a hold of me when their car broke down. They were, was really upset that I wasn't in business anymore. I said, I'm just kind of done. I'm doing some other stuff. But people found me on social media and messaged me and said, "Can I still bring my car to you?" I said, I don't have a shop. I don't have a lift. I can't raise things in the. Well, could you change a valve cover gasket? Would you do my brakes in your driveway? I mean, that was a pretty big compliment that people would still be willing to drive to my house and let me do stuff. They're like, I just don't want to lose you as a mechanic, or the biggest question was, well, then where do I go? Where's the next shop I should take it to? And of course, I had buddies who had shops. I know they're very reputable guys, good mechanics. Knew more than I did, some of them, so I had no problem referring them. But it was nice to have people chase you down and still want you to do their stuff. All right, so where was I before we get going? Now we don't do a lot of satire here, but thought I'd explain something to you because this is an old tool. And it's only old because you can tell it says Sears right on it, and there really is no more Sears, is there? And I need you to understand the difference between this and other wrenches that look like it, and they don't label them. This is an adjustable wrench, okay? You just turn it right here. Look at it. Opens wider, gets close. It's an adjustable wrench. You can go to the size of the bolt or whatever you're trying to get a hold of there, okay? Now, this particular one is a right-handed metric adjustable wrench. This one's for right-handed people. It's adjustable to all metric sizes. I did bring one. This one is a left-handed adjustable standard wrench. This is for left-handed people. It adjusts to all the sizes, the standard sizes. You have to have both wrenches. You got to have 4. See, there's this is a standard, adjustable standard size. There's left-handed and right-handed, so you need 2. The one I showed you earlier was adjustable metric, which is important. There's a difference between metric and standard in sizes. You got to know that. So this one is a right-handed adjustable metric, and they make left-handed adjustable metric. So you can't just have one of these in your toolbox. You got to have four. You got to have four of them. You got to have a left and a right-handed, and you got to have metric, and you have to have standard. You got to have each one there, and just if they're fully adjustable, they can literally go to any size, but one only fits standard, and the other one only fits metric. And it's really difficult to use these if you don't have left and right. I mean, you hand a left-handed guy a right-handed adjustable wrench. That's tough. Okay. I don't have links for these. You just kind of got to find them on your own, but they're out there, and you can just, the best thing to do is if you don't know what to do, don't email me. I would encourage you to ask a buddy, ask a friend. If you don't understand that, you ask your dad or your grandfather, and they'll show you. They got the same thing in there. They got tons of them. They can tell you left, right, and they can tell you metric and standard, and you just get the set. Just get a set, and you'll be okay. All right. Oh my God, where was I? Marie Rose, I took my car to another mechanic because my brother wasn't available, and I told the guy, I said, "Don't try me. My brother's been doing this for over 40 years." And he looked at me with shock when I told him who my brother was, because he knew who he was. Well, if you have some standing in the industry, you'll get a little bit better treatment. I will tell you that. That goes everywhere. All right, let me check between the sheets, see if there's something I missed on Rumble or YouTube. Boom, boom, boom. Says Rumble is looking good. Facebook sounds good now, too. Doom, doom. That one's still up there. I don't know why we have that. Let me just take care of that for you. If you're not going to erase them, Shiloh, then I will. Shiloh, so what's the best oil in your opinion? Shiloh Ferguson is on staff. She's running things on Facebook. That's a question we get a lot. Boy, I'll tell you, no matter what answer I say, there's going to be 50 people that tell me I'm wrong. So I will just tell you what I prefer. I use Valvoline synthetic oil. The correct weight for what I feel. Now, I use the correct weight that is exactly the fluid that is designed for the engine I'm running. Now, I have gone on my Yukon. I've got 300,000 miles on it. And that has such worn out gaps between the metal. I run a straight 50 weight. Don't do that. You'll blow up your engine. But I do. And guess what? It's quiet. If I put 5W30 in my Yukon, it'll rattle until the neighbors tell me to shut it off. True story. It'll rattle and rattle and rattle and rattle, and it won't calm down. And the neighbors will come outside holding their ears going, "Shut that thing off." Same engine. Drain that out, and I put in straight 50 weight, synthetic 50 weight. Very hard to find, but that oil is so thick it takes up those gaps. No more rattle. But that's years of me making adjustments with the oil as I went along, chasing the gap, the wear and tear. It's not easy to do, but that was the field I was in. So, I do have an engine that's got, I think it's legitimately got 85,000 miles on it. It's quiet as can be. But you got to run the thicker oil. If I were to sell it, I'd have to tell somebody, you're going to sign right here that I told you to run 50, because the first oil change they do, it's going to rattle and they're going to want to bring it back. I got to tell them the whole story up front. Got to put it on tape. Got to record it, because they got to understand what they're getting. I'd be honest with them. I won't lie. I'll tell them. So I use Valvoline, but there are a lot of good oils. I'll tell you one thing. A friend of mine owned a Haviland oil change place, quick lube center, and we took, it was my Yukon, we took it there, and Haviland is supposed to be one of the top oils, and we drained out my Yukon, changed the filter, and put in their Haviland 50 weight. We ordered some, put it in there. Ran it around the block, engine still rattled. Not as bad, but it ticked. You could hear it ticking. Drained it all back out again, put back in brand new Valvoline synthetic 50 with a new filter, quieted down. And I will tell you a story I've told you before. I knew a guy who did speedboat engines, and he had a real water brake powered dyno in the back of his business. And one day, as a kid, he sent me out to the auto parts store, because you could measure everything on this engine. All the horsepower, you can measure temperatures, you can measure oil pressures and flows at different locations, all from the safety of the room behind a big old throttle, orange-handled throttle. You had a throttle that rev that engine up. Computer takes all the readings. So what he did was he said, go get like 30 oil filters that fit this motor. Same brand. Go get cases. I want every brand of oil you can find. So I did. I went to all the auto. I got we were there literally all day. He was paying me to be there. But what he did was change the oil and filter, run the same exact test under the same exact load at the same RPM, and print out the results, and then had me drain and refill it. It just kept going through all of them until he had, 40 sheets of paper, all identical test on the identical engine on the same day with just different oil, same filters. And what I learned back then, and of course this was this is right when Mobil 1 synthetic first came out. So what was that 92, maybe it was 93. And that Mobil 1 had more horsepower and was so far off the chart compared to all these other oils. And then it went right down the list by horsepower, temperature, oil pressure, which ones made that engine slip and slide. But I just got to see it. I happened to be there on that day. So I can tell you Quaker State did very well. Pennzoil did very bad. I remember all of the off-brand oils, the red sticker oils, the grocery store oils, all of them were shitty. Every one of them broke down. Every one of them had more drag on the engine, lower horsepower, higher temperature. It was worse. All of them were bad. And as a kid, I don't know how old I was in 91, 92, 22, maybe 23 years old, something like that. And I'm calling myself a kid because back then I was. Didn't think then, but I think it now. And just got to be present when this guy did all these things, and I physically did all the changes myself. It was amazing to watch how much of a difference there actually was in oils. And when do you ever get the chance to do that? When do you get the chance to be part of a dyno on an engine where the guy's going to do that just to see how it turns out? Smart guy, good test, good run. And like I said, nothing touched Valvoline at the time. Quaker State was right up there. Who else was up there? It was, he had me get the factory oils too. The factory oils, I went and then got Ford. It was Fomoco. I'll tell you the story of the one that did the best, one of the best ones, which don't ever do this. But he went and got General Motors transmission fluid. I have two stories about this. This is one that he put transmission fluid, 5 quarts or whatever it took, 7 quarts on that pan, in the motor oil. Drained out all the motor oil, filled it with transmission fluid, spun a new filter on there, and the transmission fluid did better than the oils. True story. I got a Auburn car dealership story with a Corvette about that. We'll get to that another time. All right, let me see what I got. Kristen Hartman, General, what is your best recommendation for a ratchet extension to undo the nuts on a truck battery cage? I have one that's kind of a pain to get to. Swivel sockets. Kristen, just take a picture of it. Send it to my email. You know how to get a hold of me, Kristen. Put it in there. Show me a picture of what you're going after, a couple different angles. I will tell you right what to get. There are swivel head sockets, 1/4 and 3/8 drives that are just awesome. Probably help you out a ton. But let me see what you're working on. I'd be more than happy to take a time to walk you through it. All right, member for Brad1179 got his big green 3 a little bit ago. Member for 37 months. Top level KGXT Studios. He'll be one of the guys when we get our webcam up in here running. He gets access to that for free. General, that's like someone wanting a timing belt replacement but won't drop the extra money for the water pump. Glad to see you guys are getting settled in. He's exactly right. When you may tear down your engine and you're staring at the water pump and your water pump's not leaking, but if it's got a bunch of miles and you're right fucking there, do it. Good mechanics are not upselling you for no reason. It's going to cost you a lot more to tear it all back down again. Brad, my man, is right. Star Roberts, another 5 memberships there. Thank you very much. Ace Jumpman, 5 memberships. And Tisk Time, TS Kime, T Skime. Not really sure, but he sent 5 memberships. Appreciate that. Wearing an orange hat. Looks like a Gators hat. Can't quite tell. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Every time you mute, your volume is lower when you unmute. That's because I didn't put it all the way back up. Thank you for saying something. How's that now? Can you hear me now? If I go all the way up, I feel like it's going to distort on you guys. And sometimes it's easier for you guys to turn your fucking knob up a little bit than it is for me to distort it. Right, whatever. It's a garage show. Who cares? All right. Something else is going to show you. This one, well, I got two more things in here. I'm going to show something here and see if you know what it is. Right? I'll look on Facebook Blue. You're going to see if you get the answer right on YouTube and Rumble. Does anybody know what this tool is, what it's for, what it's called, and what it should be called? This one's actually a bigger one. You don't usually see them like this. I think I got a smaller one in there. A little bit. Let me see. Yeah, I got a smaller one. Same idea. Anybody knows what these are for? What are they called? What are they used for? And if you know the nickname of one, what should they really be called? Because they shouldn't be called what we always call them. All right, let's see now. FOMOCO, haven't heard that in quite a while. Dale one, yeah, because that's what it was called back in the day when you and I were kids. Dwight Croak asking a question, but I asked you a question first, man. Shiloh guessed it's a tap out. Well, Shiloh asked her guy. She didn't know that. She had to ask a guy. Tap out, yeah, I guess you could call it that. We used to call them easy outs. There we go. Eugene says easy out. Jennifer Hall, a bolt extractor, yeah. And you see how it's coiled, it's curved, it's call that a helix coil around it. See how I'm turning it right there? Imagine if you had a bolt broke off and it's stuck. So you drill a hole, you pound this in there, and because the way those things are shaped, you put a socket on the end up here, and as you're turning it counterclockwise to remove the bolt, it spreads and gets tighter. It bites into the bolt, and the broken bolt starts walking out. These are called easy outs, but they never work as designed, so I always call them pain in the ass outs, which is really what they should be called. Hey, do you have a pain in the ass out set? No, I have an easy out set. No, I don't think you do, because I've used that before, and it's not nothing fucking easy about it, because the hole has to be drilled in the center. Now, I want to tell you something. If you wanted a gift for someone, these sets can go up to $800, $1,100 for a complete set with drill bits. I found one made by Irwin. There's an affiliate link I'm going to let the moderators give you in a second. It has left-handed drill bits as part of a very good set for only a couple $100, under a couple $100. Now, what does anybody know? Can anybody think if you're trying to extract a bolt, why a left-handed drill bit would be the difference? Drill it in this way, you're still drilling a hole. Drill the hole left-handed, you're drilling the hole. Still drilling the hole. Why drill with a left-handed bit versus a right-handed bit? Does it make a difference in the hole? Nope. Does it make a difference how this fits in? Nope. But think about this for 1 second. When you get your hole set up, when you get everything in the hole and you're going to start working on it, backing out, you're going to turn it counterclockwise, aren't you? You're going to try to unscrew it, unthread it. You're going to turn counterclockwise and everything's going to come out. So what happens if in the beginning you're drilling the hole and that drill bit is turning left instead of right and it catches the edge of that bolt and it backs it right out for you? Do you know how many times I've done that? Hundreds. Because I took the time to get a left-handed drill bit set as part of this kit. And when I started doing it, I made the hole a little bigger, got big enough, and man, that left-handed bit just caught it, brought it right out. Moderators can put up the link to that set. It's an affiliate link. We do get a couple bucks, not our tool, but I promise you, I searched through all of them to find a good set. It's not a $40 set because it comes with more pieces that your guy would know how to use. But it's not an $800 set or an $1,100 set that comes with things you might not use. No. This particular set, if you get this and you give it to him as a gift for an anniversary, a Christmas present, or you want to give it to him just because, you're not going wrong. The only way you go wrong is if he already had this set or a better set. If he got one off the Snap-on truck or he got one off the Mac Tools truck, he might go, hey, thanks for this, but mine's better. But Irwin's a good brand. These things wear out no matter who you buy them from. I bought Snap-on, I bought Mac, I've had Cornwell. Irwin works almost as good as those guys, and it's not even half the price. I'm just letting you know that the ratchet I showed you earlier is a go-to thing. There's no way a guy would be like, holy shit, why'd you buy me this? What a stupid thing. No, they would never do it. This set, I'm telling you, for broken bolts, things that you can't get out, and it works on pipes too. Just imagine you have one big enough to go into a broken pipe, and it grabs it and pulls it right out. It does the same thing. I'm just telling you, there's a bunch of uses for those. It's something that your guy would have in his toolbox forever. Just letting you know, I won't steer you wrong on some of these things. I don't make any of these things. I'm not associated with any of these companies. I did find an affiliate link through Amazon, so if you spend $200, we get a couple bucks at Gen X Talks. Helps us along. But I'm only going to present stuff to you that is useful, that a guy would like, and it's going to work. I wouldn't even show. You want to do a show on shitty tools? Oh, I got a ton of those too. Not as advertised. I got handfuls and boxes of shit that never worked the way it was supposed to. We could do a whole 2-hour show on shit. Don't buy this. Don't buy this. Never buy these. Oh, I've done it. I bought them. They didn't work out at all. I tell you which ones those are too, just by experience. Letting you guys know. All right, let me jump back in the sheet, see if we got anything else to come of age. Bum, 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 bum. Rumbles up, sounded good. Run. Dr. Shadowlight had another question. Went to get oil done at the dealer because I didn't have time to change it. I wanted full synthetic since it has turbos on it, and those cam phasers they didn't want synthetic, and stated Motorcraft. Blend was recommended. Should I insist on synthetic? It's a hot topic for mechanics, but the simple part of it is, if it's under warranty, you got to do what they say. Now, there's many people that will argue that, because you could go to, the day you get a brand new vehicle, you could switch to this high quality oil that is synthetic, and if your engine goes bad and they go, sorry, you switched oils to what we told you not to use, and that caused the damage. Well, that company will come to bat and say, no, our oil does not cause that damage. Our oil is great. Now you have these two companies fighting, and one of them's going to lose in court. And chances are, if you use the very high quality oil, your dealership's going to lose, the factory's going to lose, and they're going to have to fix your engine anyway. But you're opening yourself up for a big fucking fight while your car sits there for 19 months collecting dust because it's in court. If it's under warranty, just do what they fucking tell you. Why not? They have to warranty it. Don't create a fight where you don't need to. Now, when you start getting on in mileage, use what you want. I've even brought oil into places and said, this is the filter I want. This is the oil I want. I'm going to pay the $20, fucking change it. Most of them will. I'm like, all right, we'll knock you down. They write right on there, no warranty on customer supplied parts. Did you hear that? No warranty on customer supplied parts. So depends on if you're out of warranty, you don't even have to go to the dealership. If you're out of warranty, just take it to any shop that you want and give them the oil you filter and let them change it and do some other stuff for you. Pay them a couple bucks and just get it done. Shadowlight and TJ Runs on Rumble said easy out. And I think it is an easy out, Shadowlight and TJ Wrench. But remember, we changed the name today. This is pain in the ass out. Parentheses, not so easy out. Anybody who has fought a seized up bolt, a cross-threaded bolt that some asshole put in with Loctite and an air hammer, knows that these pain in the ass out. Anybody who's done those. We did change the nickname today, my fine feathered friends. Remember, we're keeping this simple. We're keeping it light. We're not going real deep into things. We're just having fun talking about stuff. All right. So listen, I think that's it for now. Those of you, as a little bonus, those of you who are members, if you're members of Patreon or on Facebook, if you're part of the General's Lunchbox, that's a Facebook page, that is just a behind the scenes page of Gen X Talks. That's for members where you guys can see stuff. You guys know that that 8-bit Briggs 91 Camry, which he's trying to get fixed up. The next stage he's at, he has to pull the O2 sensor out and check for back pressure in the exhaust. That's where he's at. So I got this out. I sent a picture of it to Sun Valley Fox. You guys ever seen one of those? The green screen is really fucking with it a little bit. It's a better angle. You guys ever seen a socket that's missing a side? This is a really expensive socket from Snap-on, 22 millimeter or 7/8. And what this does is, if you have an O2 sensor, you can unplug it, and this lets the wire out the side. You can put this down there. The wire comes right out the side here, and you can turn it without damaging the wire. Because if you don't have one of these, you're going to fuck up the wire, and then you're going to buy an O2 sensor. You didn't need to before, but you do need one now. So I have a few of these. This is a big one with a 1/2-inch drive on there, but this will get his out. And that's the next stage. I just brought this out there because a lot of you are following along that story. It's over at the foxhole right now. Sun Valley Fox is guarding it, but we need to get over there with a big with a big ratchet, put it on there and pop this thing out and then drive it and see what's next. Just thought I'd remind you, those are for members only area. Those of you that have been following along. Remember, moderators can put up the link to Patreon. They can put up a special link so you can join the YouTube memberships, just like the gifts the guys gave out today. Same with the General's Lunchbox. It's $1, but you guys get to see everything Gen X Talks that we don't produce for the public. All stuff that's not fit for public consumption, behind the scenes stuff. Patreon gets a little more than everybody else because we can email people directly and let them know what we're doing. But other than that, they're all identical. Everybody gets the same things pretty much. So that's it. There's a garage show. And by the way, this right here for members recognize this. This is one of the inside of one of my buildings downtown in Southern California. I'm getting ready to clean it up and repair things and rent it back out again. But this is what Mary Mathis was down there in California with me last weekend, and she took some pictures of the shop, and I thought, what could I use for a background? Because I can't be out in my garage without Gen X Mom logistically. The laptop's over there, the camera's over here, I'm over there, I can't read anything. So I tried to figure out a way to do this inside the studio, and with a green screen, and that came up. So Mary Mathis took that picture. That is a real shot of the inside of one of my buildings. It's going through some stuff, getting repaired right now, and that's gonna either go up for sale to one of my buddies or get re-rented again. But that's the building where I had my shop for all those years, right inside there. All the racks are gone and all the tools, of course, but that was it. Anyway, members only would recognize that. Members only know what we're talking about with 8-bit, the car. And if you guys want to be part of that, just join up and you get all the behind the scenes. We put a lot of content out too. We don't just do, once a month or something. We try to put out stuff almost every day, and for sure 4 and 5 times a week, we're giving you some cool stuff. So anyway, that's it. I got to get out of here. Not sure where you guys are listening in from around the planet. AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. Remember, the Garage Show, every Friday at 6 p.m. Rumble, Facebook Blue, and YouTube. All right. Trying to build those audience. I'll always be paying attention to Facebook Blue, helping Shiloh rally the troops around there and getting stuff going again. But it's always interesting. I love answering you guys' questions. No questions too stupid. Just ask. I don't care. And you guys want to email, you can. One more thing. Public 520 is on YouTube. Says, General, I'll be picking up my new truck soon. 38 laps around the sun. 5th replacement truck due to total losses. Any advice for food luck? Did you mean a food truck? I don't know what food luck is. I don't have good success at my age. Food is, yes, it's a crapshoot. It's like very lucky if you get food luck. I'm not been lucky with food. Any good luck? Okay, well that makes more sense. I'll be picking up my new truck soon. 38 laps around the sun. 5th replacement truck due to total losses. I don't know what you mean by total losses. The engine gives out. It gets stolen. You want me to find you a steel-proof truck that won't get stolen? Transmission failure, you didn't really say what your losses were. There's certain vehicles I can guide you in certain directions. Nothing's going to be a guarantee. I just don't know what that means. So Public 520 on YouTube. Make sure you're here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And we'll go back over it again. Well, if you're back in here, chime in, and Chris Yerger will put you up on the boards, and we'll try it again. Listen, I got to get out of here. Gen X Mom is stirring. I got to go beat the shit out of Briggs' dog because he's barking during a live stream. How rude. But we'll catch up with you guys again. I hope I did a good job for you guys answering questions and moving along. Hope the screen wasn't freezing too much. We are hardlined, man, but I can't control how Spectrum works. And, then no one from Spectrum ever calls me and goes, hey, how are we doing? Yeah, because I tell them. All right. I got to get out of here. Thanks, you guys, again, for tuning in. Remember 2 things. Number 1, wherever you go, there you are. And number 2, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out of here, baby.